The Click R3 podcast is brought to you by the awesome community over on Patreon. To learn more about supporting the show, head over to spawncastnetwork.com.
I still am very curious as to what the console does for 1080p PS4 games, because apparently that's supposed to help too. And I think that's like a much more dramatic gain. If you're talking about improving 4,000 something games that never even got a pro enhancement, right? So yeah, I think the company really just did not really do a great job explaining this console, like in the same manner they did with PS4 Pro. Like they had like an hour presentation for PS4 Pro back in the day with Mark Cerny getting super technical and everything. It's like, why didn't you do that again? You know,
I think that it's clear at this point. I think that internal PR and marketing has a strategy to speak little and to mass market publications, or what they deem to be more mass market publications. Mm-hmm. They're talking much to GQ, and like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they have no interest in talking to enthusiast media anymore, which is I think fine. I mean, I really do believe that they think that they don't have to do very much, and I think that you're seeing a reflection of that, and less aggression, less cost for marketing, fewer mistakes made in interviews. You don't have Jim Ryan talking about how bad Gran Turismo looks. All that kind of stuff. I just really think that they've really become risk averse because they realize that it's not really moving the needle. Meanwhile, they are making more money than they've ever made. So I just think that, like, if anything, they're gonna become more and more up high and speak very little. And there's really no reason for them to do much more than that. It's a lot less exciting. I mean, look how they neutered all their personalities as well over the last 10 years. So
yeah, I mean, Colin, you're probably like, I bring this up a lot on my channel, which is this growing frustration with how little Sony does talk. And it's like, well, the fundamental issue is they don't, not only do they not really collaborate with more enthusiast sites, as you say, because they're doing stuff with like, Wired and GQ and shit like that, right? All these legacy media sites. But it's like, they stopped going to Paris Games Week, TGS, Gamescom, E3, these trade shows that are very predictable. They show up every year, and we always knew they would be there. They would say something. Once they stopped doing that, there's this appearance, and it's not even so much a facade. Like it's true. Like they don't talk nearly as much. 4 or 5 press events a year, and they don't do those anymore. It's no longer a guarantee. And now the kind of things that you would think show up during a live stream or when they would rent out a venue or something, and now it shows up on the PlayStation blog on a Tuesday. It just it's that lack of communication. And yeah, they're far less personality driven as well. They used to do a lot of that stuff during PS3 and 4. So
yeah,
it's very different.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's it. It's very different.
I just feel like even the Freedom Wars announcement from Bandai Namco, which is, it's fascinating in many layers of licensing and all of that kind of stuff. Like, why didn't you save that for the state of play? Like, there doesn't even seem to be that level of communication going. But at the same time, this came up on the show recently, and I do think it's an interesting counter, just a devil's advocate kind of thing, because I actually agree. I would like to, but it's like, okay, we were talking specifically about PSX when Uncharted 4 like borked out. I don't know if you guys know that story or were there. I was there in the room where like they were playing Uncharted 4. Bruce Straley was playing Uncharted 4, and he fell through the environment and the game crashed. Yeah, and everyone started applauding, and it was like a crazy thing. And I was like, okay, so think about that. That was 2015. What do you think would happen now?
Twitter would be very nice to him. Very nice.
Solid point.
Like, how do you think that would go on now on Twitter? And and I think they look at stuff like that. I just think it's just an example of, maybe like, look at our sales. Like, we basically relegated. Our primary competition is publishing games on our platform. Like we're good. And I don't blame them for having that outlook. But I love the Shuhei days. Like when I was at IGN, and we would interview him they would let us interview him for almost 2 hours every year at E3 in a hotel room. They would just give you access. We would, or when I became good friends with Gio Corsi, and he held the Vita up on stage, and he got in a lot of trouble for that, behind the scenes, because they wanted to kill that thing for a long time. They don't want to like keep this thing going. And it's just, I think they just were like, I think what's clear is that marketing and PR, and knowing a lot of those people over the years too, like they won in the internal battle. San Mateo won, the international battle about localizing the company out of California when it was really localized out of Japan and England for a long time. And I think they just won the whole battle of messaging. Less is more. And that's why I think they're becoming Apple communicates a lot more than them actually, but it's like, that's why they're becoming more of an Apple like company, where they're like, we just have our consumers. Now we want to keep them with engagement devices. you know, PS5 Pro, Portal, PC gaming, putting Horizon on Switch, all that kind of stuff. I just think it's all part of the same play.